All right, buckle up for a deep dive into a boxing match that's got everyone talking Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
Yeah, that's right.
YouTube star taking on a boxing legend live on Netflix. So many questions.
Yeah,
How will this thing actually play out?
absolutely.
We've got press conference footage, expert analysis from Teddy Atlas, even some insights into Mike Tyson's reflections on his life, looking back on it all.
Looking back.
What happens when this carefully crafted persona meets the raw power of, the baddest man on the planet?
It's truly, it's not every day you see a fight that kind of bridges generations like this.
Right.
Yeah, you've got Jake Paul,
Right.
master of self-promotion, branding,
Uh-huh.
really disrupted the boxing world, going up against Mike Tyson, a name that's just synonymous with raw power and,
Yeah.
a career that's had its share of both triumph and controversy.
It's more than just a fight, right? You got this clash of personalities, this new school versus old school kind of feel to it.
Absolutely.
But before we get into all that, I'm curious about the backstory. How did this matchup even come about?
Well, Jake Paul, you can go back and he actually talked about having this vision years ago.
Wow.
He's been very strategic about his opponents, building his reputation against retired MMA fighters and YouTubers.
Uh-huh.
But this is a whole other level of
Right.
ambition.
For Tyson, I'm guessing it's not just about the money, though I'm sure that's a part of it.
Sure.
His interview with The Art of Ward suggests he's looking for something a bit more.
Exactly. He's talking about proving himself again.
Okay.
Silencing the doubters who say he's past his prime.
Right.
He's 58 years old. And admits that getting in shape at this stage of his life isn't easy.
Right.
But there's this fire in him, this drive that just hasn't faded.
But isn't that drive tempered by the realities of aging? He's talked about needing more recovery time, not training with the same intensity that he did in his 20s. How's that going to affect him against someone like Paul, who's in his prime, using all these modern training techniques?
That's the big question, right? Jake Paul's all about that meticulous training, using data and analytics to optimize his performance. Tyson, on the other hand, it seems to be tapping into something more primal, more instinctual.
Okay.
And you see that contrast, really, in their pre-fight demeanor.
Yeah.
Paul's very calculated, almost subdued.
Uh-huh.
While Tyson, he's unleashed that classic Tyson intensity.
You're talking about that press conference where he said he wanted to eat Jake Paul's children? I don't think I've ever heard a quote like that before a fight.
It's pure psychological warfare.
Yeah.
Tyson's tapping into that baddest man on the planet image.
Right.
Whether it's genuine or calculated, it has to get under Paul's skin.
Of course.
That kind of raw aggression
Right.
is something Paul hasn't encountered before.
Right.
So how will he handle it when the bell rings?
Speaking of handling it, let's bring in the perspective of someone who knows boxing inside and out. Teddy Atlas, a seasoned commentator. He's been pretty vocal about his take on this matchup.
Atlas is skeptical about the fight's legitimacy. He questions whether it's a true test of boxing skills or more of a spectacle designed to generate hype.
Right.
And he's also pointed out, the fight isn't following standard professional boxing rules.
Oh,
They'll be fighting 2-minute rounds instead of the usual 3.
Interesting.
And they're using heavier 14-ounce gloves.
So these rule changes, are they tilting the fight in someone's favor?
It's hard to say for sure, but Atlas believes the shorter rounds and heavier gloves could benefit Tyson,
Okay.
allow him to unleash those powerful bursts he's known for without depleting his stamina as quickly.
Makes sense.
He's predicted that Tyson could knock Paul out in the first round.
Wow.
But if Paul can survive those early rounds,
Yeah.
his youth and stamina could become a major factor.
Right.
Atlas thinks that Paul's strategy might be to weather the storm and then try to outpoint Tyson over the course of the fight.
So we have a clash of styles, personalities, even generations here. What are the stakes for each fighter? What do they stand to gain or lose from this?
For Jake Paul, a win against Mike Tyson would be a defining moment.
Yeah.
In his career, it would catapult him from YouTube celebrity to a legitimate force in the boxing world.
Just think about it. He's already disrupted the sport by bringing in a massive new audience.
Right.
But beating Tyson would legitimize him in the eyes of even the most diehard boxing purists.
Totally.
And what about Tyson? He's already a legend, but what's driving him at this stage of his life?
I think it's a combination of factors.
Okay.
He's spoken about wanting to rewrite his legacy to show the world that he's not just the guy from his troubled past, right?
Yeah.
He's also mentioned how winning this fight would validate all the work he's put into rebuilding his life, all the personal growth he's gone through.
Yeah.
There's a sense that he wants to prove something not just to the world, but to himself as well.
So it sounds like there's a lot more to this fight than just two guys punching each other.
Oh, yeah.
We're seeing echoes of their personal journeys, their struggles, and their ambitions play out on this global stage.
For sure.
And let's not forget the impact this event is having on the city of Arlington and the boxing world as a whole.
Absolutely. There's a buzz around this fight you don't see very often.
Yeah.
Hotel rates in Arlington have skyrocketed, and the fact that Netflix is streaming this fight live
Wow.
is a big deal. It's their first foray into live boxing, and it's attracting a whole new audience that might not have been interested in a traditional pay-per-view event.
It's almost like this fight is a microcosm of this changing landscape of sports and entertainment.
It really is.
You've got the traditional boxing world colliding with the world of social media and streaming platforms. It's fascinating to see how these forces are interacting and kind of shaping each other.
Absolutely.
But let's get back to Mike Tyson for a moment. In his interviews, we've seen glimpses into his personal journey, his evolution from the baddest man on the planet to someone who's seeking peace and making amends for his past.
And that's what I find so intriguing about this whole situation,
Yeah.
Tyson's story is one of incredible highs and lows, and now he's talking about family, faith, and forgiveness.
Right.
It's a side of him we haven't seen much of before.
Yeah, it really adds a layer of depth to this matchup.
For sure.
It's not just about power and aggression anymore. It's about personal growth, redemption, and the possibility of change. And I think that resonates with people on a deeper level.
Absolutely.
We all have our own struggles, our own journeys.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing someone like Mike Tyson, who's been through so much, talking about these things,
Right.
makes him more relatable, more human.
Totally.
It challenges our perceptions of who he is and what he represents.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about the personalities, the backstory, the broader implications of this fight, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Let's do it.
What are we actually going to see in the ring? How do these fighters match up stylistically?
Well, on the one hand, you have Mike Tyson, a fighter known for his explosive power, his aggression, and his ability to overwhelm opponents.
Yeah.
And even at his age, that raw power is still a threat, especially with the rule changes we've discussed.
And then you have Jake Paul, who's shown speed, agility, a more strategic approach.
Right.
He's not afraid to use his reach advantage, to work behind his jab, to be more methodical, pick his shots carefully. It's almost like a classic brawler versus boxer scenario.
Exactly, and that's what makes this fight so unpredictable.
Right.
Can Paul maintain his composure under pressure and stick to his game plan against someone like Tyson, who's known for getting inside his opponent's heads?
Or will Tyson's experience and ring savvy prove too much for Paul to handle? Will he be able to break through Paul's defenses and land one of his signature power shots? These are the questions everyone's asking.
It's a fascinating tactical puzzle, isn't it? If we look back at Tyson's prime, he was a master of cutting off the range, trapping his opponents, and unleashing these devastating combinations.
Yeah.
His signature move was that peekaboo style.
Oh, yeah.
Where he used his gloves to cover his face while bobbing and weaving, creating those openings for those powerful hooks and uppercuts.
That peekaboo style was so intimidating. I remember watching those fights and just feeling the intensity.
Oh, yeah.
But how effective will that be against someone like Jake Paul, who's taller and has a longer reach?
That's where Paul's jab comes in.
Okay.
He's shown an ability to use his jab to control the distance, keep Tyson at bay, and potentially frustrate him.
Right.
If he can maintain that distance and avoid getting trapped on the ropes, he might be able to outmaneuver Tyson and score points with his own punches.
So Paul's strategy could be to fight a more tactical long-range game,
Right.
while Tyson's looking to close that distance and unleash those power shots. It's almost like a chess match. Each fighter trying to anticipate the other's moves and exploit their weaknesses.
Exactly. And let's not forget the mental game.
Yeah.
Tyson's known for getting inside his opponent's head, using intimidation tactics to disrupt their focus. Remember that press conference? He was playing mind games with Paul.
Yeah.
Trying to rattle him.
I mean, it definitely worked on some of his past opponents.
For sure.
But Paul seems pretty confident, almost unflappable.
Right.
He's grown up in the world of social media where hype and trash talk are part of the game.
Right.
Maybe he's immune to Tyson's mind games.
It's a possibility, or maybe Tyson's just playing a role.
Right.
Trying to lure Paul into a false sense of security. We won't know for sure until they step into the ring, But there's another element we haven't discussed yet.
Okay.
Stamina.
You're talking about the age difference.
Yeah.
Will Tyson be able to maintain that explosive energy throughout the fight, especially with the shorter rounds? Or will Paul's youth and conditioning give him an advantage in the later rounds?
That's a key factor to consider.
Yeah.
Tyson has admitted that he's not the same fighter he was in his 20s.
Right.
He needs more recovery time. He can't train with the same intensity.
Uh-huh.
Paul, on the other hand, is in his physical prime, and he's been training rigorously for this fight.
So we've got this tension between Tyson's raw power and Paul's potential endurance, who's going to be able to impose their will on this fight. Will be a knockout, a decision, or something completely unexpected. It's hard to predict.
And that's what makes this fight so compelling.
Yeah.
It's not just a clash of styles.
Right.
It's a clash of eras.
Yeah.
A clash of personalities. You know, we're seeing the evolution of boxing play out in real time.
Yeah.
With a YouTube star challenging a legend from a bygone era.
You know, it's fascinating to see how Mike Tyson has been able to reinvent himself over the years.
Yeah.
He's gone from being this fearsome figure in the ring to someone who's embraced his past, his flaws, his humanity. He's become a pop culture icon, appearing in movies, TV shows, even doing voiceover work for commercials.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's headlining a major boxing event on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's a remarkable journey.
It really is, and it speaks to his charisma, his ability to connect with people, and his willingness to adapt to a changing world.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to poke fun at himself, to show his vulnerable side. Remember that earbite commercial with Evander Holyfield?
That was hilarious.
Right.
It showed a sense of humor and self-awareness that I don't think people expected from him.
Exactly.
It was like he was acknowledging his past without being defined by it.
Exactly, and I think that's what makes him so intriguing.
Yeah.
He's not just a boxer. He's a complex individual who's lived a very public life full of triumphs and tragedies.
Right.
And now he's in this unique position fighting a younger opponent who represents a new generation of boxing.
Right.
It's almost like a passing of the torch in a way.
And it's happening on a platform, Netflix,
Yeah.
that's changing the way people consume entertainment.
Yep.
This fight is accessible to millions of people who might not have watched a boxing match before.
For sure.
It's blurring the lines between sport and spectacle.
And that raises some interesting questions about the future of boxing.
Right.
Is this the direction the sport is headed?
Yeah.
Will we see more celebrity matchups, more events designed for streaming platforms? Is it a good thing for the sport, or does it cheapen its integrity?
Those are questions worth considering.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the fight itself. We've talked a lot about the broader implications, but what are you most looking forward to seeing when these two fighters step into the ring?
Honestly, I'm just curious to see how they react to each other in those first few moments.
Yeah.
Will Tyson come out with that trademark aggression, trying to overwhelm Paul early? Or will he be more calculated, trying to conserve his energy and pick his spots?
Right.
And how will Paul respond to Tyson's legendary aura, to that feeling of being in the ring with one of the most famous boxers of all time?
Those are the moments that define a fight, aren't they? The initial clash of styles, the feeling out process, the adjustments that each fighter makes on the fly. It's those subtle nuances, the unspoken dialogue between two warriors that reveal their true character and determine the course of the battle.
And then there's the element of surprise.
Oh, yeah?
We've analyzed their past fights,
Right.
their training methods, their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
But there's always the possibility of something unexpected happening.
Of course.
A moment of brilliance.
Yeah.
A tactical gamble, a flash of raw instinct that changes the entire narrative.
That's what makes boxing so unpredictable and so captivating.
Right.
It's a sport where anything can happen, where a single punch can change the course of a fight, a career, a legacy.
And that's what we'll be watching for on fight night.
Right.
Will it be a technical clinic, a brutal slugfest, or a tactical chess match?
Right?
Will experience triumph over youth, or will the new school prevail over the old?
We'll have to wait and see, but one thing's for sure, this fight is a testament to the enduring power of boxing.
Absolutely.
Its ability to capture our imagination and spark endless debate.
For sure.
It's a story that transcends the sport itself.
It really does.
A collision of personalities, eras, and cultural forces that's resonating far beyond the ring.
And that's what we've tried to capture in this deep dive.
Right.
Not just the technical aspects of the fight, but also the human stories behind it.
Right.
The broader implications for the sport and the questions it raises about our fascination with competition,
Yeah.
spectacle, and the enduring allure of larger-than-life personalities.
So as we approach fight night, Let's consider the various narratives that are swirling around this matchup.
Okay.
What are the potential outcomes, and what would they mean for each fighter's legacy?
If Tyson wins, will it be seen as a validation of his enduring power, a final chapter in a storied career, or a carefully orchestrated spectacle designed to boost his brand?
And if Paul wins, will it be heralded as a changing of the guard, proof that he's more than just a YouTube celebrity, or will it be dismissed as a fluke victory against an aging opponent?
These are questions that will be debated long after the final bell has rung.
And beyond the individual narratives, what does this fight say about the state of boxing itself? Are we witnessing a shift in the balance of power?
Yeah.
With social media influencers and streaming platforms gaining more influence over the traditional gatekeepers of the sport?
It's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
We're seeing this convergence of entertainment and athletics with personalities like Jake Paul blurring the lines between athlete and celebrity.
Yeah.
They're using their platforms to build their brands, attract sponsors, and generate massive paydays.
It's a savvy business strategy, no doubt, but does it come at the expense of the sport's integrity?
Right.
Are we sacrificing skill and athleticism for spectacle and entertainment value?
It's a debate that's raging within the boxing community.
Yeah.
Some see it as a threat to the sport's traditions,
Right.
while others embrace it as a way to reach new audiences and revitalize the sport.
It's like we're at a crossroads. On the one hand, you have the purists who value the history, the discipline, the technical mastery of boxing.
Right.
And on the other, you have a new generation of fans who are drawn to the spectacle, the drama, the personalities.
And this fight embodies that tension perfectly.
Right.
You've got Mike Tyson, a fighter who represents the grit and intensity of the old school.
Yeah.
And Jake Paul, a showman who thrives in the world of social media and online hype.
It's almost like a clash of civilizations within the boxing world.
It really is.
And the outcome of this fight could have ripple effects that extend far beyond the ring.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how the boxing establishment reacts, regardless of who wins.
Right.
Will they embrace this new wave of fighters and fans?
Yeah.
Or will they try to hold on to the traditional ways?
It's a question that goes beyond boxing, really.
Yeah.
It's about how we consume sports, how we define athletic achievement, and how technology is shaping the future of entertainment.
And at the heart of it all is this primal fascination with human competition.
Right.
The desire to see two individuals test their limits, to push each other to the brink, to see who emerges victorious.
It's a story as old as time, isn't it?
It is.
But this fight, with its unique blend of personality, styles, and platforms, feels like a turning point. It's a glimpse into the future of boxing.
Right.
And maybe even a reflection of our changing culture.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with a sense of anticipation and a lot of unanswered questions.
Right.
What will this fight mean for the future of boxing? What legacy will it leave behind?
Yeah.
And how will it be remembered in the annals of boxing history?
Those are questions we'll have to grapple with as the story unfolds.
Absolutely.
But one thing's for certain, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson is more than just a fight.
It is.
It's a cultural phenomenon, a conversation starter, a reflection of our times.
And whether you're a diehard boxing fan,
Right.
a casual observer, or just intrigued by the spectacle of it all, this fight has something to offer everyone.
Right.
It's a reminder that the world of sports is constantly evolving, and that even in an era dominated by technology and social media, the human drama of athletic competition still has the power to captivate us.
So there you have it.
We've explored the origins of this matchup,
Analyzed the fighters' motivations,
dissected the expert opinions,
and considered the broader implications of this fight.
We've delved into the tactical nuances, the psychological warfare, and the personal journeys of these two fighters who are at very different stages of their lives and careers.
But ultimately, the outcome remains a mystery. Will it be a knockout,
A decision?
a draw, or something completely unexpected?
Right.
Have to wait and see.
But regardless of the result, this fight has already sparked important conversations about the future of boxing, the role of spectacle in sports entertainment, and the enduring power of human stories.
And that, in the end, is what makes this deep dive so compelling. It's not just about two guys punching each other. It's about the larger narratives that surround them,
Right.
the questions they raise, and the insights they offer into our own lives and the world around us.
It really is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.